And we are live. Welcome to the Light of Infinite Festival. Woo! I am so excited to be here. I am Bat-Chen Grossman. I'm a marriage coach for women in business. Basically, that means that I love the intersection between how your business affects your marriage and how your marriage affects your business, and why it is that we're holding ourselves back from growing too much because we don't want to pay the price with our marriage, with our family. So, how do we find that balance? How do we find that harmony? And that's what I am here to speak to you today, because this is a very, very interesting situation. First of all, because God put you here to make a difference and to leave an impact, right? So you get this pull that you should be doing this thing and creating whatever business you've created, and you're really passionate about it, not because of the money, but really because of the impact that you want to leave in this world. And then it's not feeling very aligned, right? Because you're also here to be a wife and a mother and to do that whole woman thing, right? So, how do we make them work? And can they even work? That's the biggest question, right? Because we have this feeling like I have to choose. I've heard this so many times, and I don't know if it's about, if it's something that I had to go through, but I will tell you, I used to be a graphic designer. And for 15 years, I went to Pratt Institute. I worked on Fifth Avenue. I made Aliyah and lived in Israel. I live in Israel, and I worked for Ben Gassner Studios. I then went to be on my own and worked for all these great companies in Tel Aviv and in Ramat Gan, trying to really grow my business. And part of growing your business, as you know, if you have been there, is networking and going to conferences and creating, friends who are in similar niches. So I started talking to other women in business, and it turns out I'm not the only one feeling this way. Everybody wants to grow just enough to get to the next level, right? Not too big. Why? Another thing, by the way, is that a lot of the noise out there in the world is, hey, I finally reached six figures. I was able to get divorced. I finally reached $1 million. So I got divorced. What is it about reaching certain goals and it shaking up your business, your marriage? Okay. That's a huge, huge thing. So we don't want to get there. There is no point, right, of running, 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 reaching something, and then looking back and realizing that you didn't really enjoy the journey. So we definitely want to be in the moment, in the present, enjoying both our business and our marriage and our children and our lives and taking care of ourselves. All of that is very possible. After I went through my own situations that I was resentful of my husband, I realized, hey, I'm not the only one. Everybody feels this way. It's not fair. Why are you holding me back? It's your fault I'm not making more money. And, I'm just feeling guilty because you don't make enough money. So I don't want to make you feel bad. And so I'm not going, whatever, right? We go into these loops in our heads, and it has nothing to do with my husband, right? It's more has to do with my experience. And I I went through all of that. I exploded at my husband. Thank God my husband's a very nice guy. And he's just like, I am not jealous. I couldn't care less if you make more money. I would actually be very happy if you made more money, right? Especially since he's a rabbi. So he really just wants me to make the money, because then it gives him time to be free to learn and to research and to do his thing. And so he's trying to explain to me how this makes no sense. I don't know why you think that I am resentful. I am not resentful. And this conversation made me realize that there's a lot of chatter in my head. There's a lot of noise. And that it doesn't have to be this way. So I went on a quest to find all of the ways and all of the wisdoms that will help me switch it around. How do I get my marriage to continue thriving? And how do I get my business to actually grow without having to pick, without having to give one up for the other? And yes, I can tell you it is possible because here we are. Thank God. And when I finally reached that goal, all of my friends who looked at me, from the networking groups and from the conversations were like, how? How did you do it? Because we're all trying to do it and we're really not getting there. So let's talk about a couple of things before I tell you how I came up with the calm method. The calm method is the method that I created when I reverse engineered what I did, right? So the friends were asking me, what did you do? How did you do it? And the answer was, oh, okay, let me see. I look back and I see all the different steps and I put them together into a method so that you can have it too. Now, here's when you know that God is on your side and guiding all of this and downloading, and has nothing to do with me creating anything. I just sort of was a very awesome vessel to put it all together. The calm method is now something that not only works for going from resentful to thriving. It doesn't only work for women in business. It doesn't only work for women. It works in every situation, in every realm of your life. It works in preparation for something happening, in after something happened to resolve that thing. It works in the moment. You can be so calm with the calm method because you know exactly what to do right now, right? And that was the point that I wanted to get to, is how do I know what to do right now so that I can have the life I want and not have to pay a price? So let's get into the calm method. I remember I said something I was going to say and I don't remember where it went, so I lost that train of thought. We're going to keep going with this one because it's working for us. The calm method. Calm stands for connect to yourself, ask for abundance, listen for the answer, and master a higher level of consciousness. Those are the 4 steps that you must have in order to get out of the mud, get out of that stuck, get out of whatever resentment, frustration, anger, icky, blah, and go to that thriving, alive, connected, aligned, woohoo, I'm flying. Okay, that's where we want to go. This is where we are. This is where we want to go. Those are the 4 steps. Are you ready? Connect to yourself is always step 1. Because if you skip this step, you will not actually be doing anything aligned or in integrity in the other steps. It's just not going to work. Step 1 is you have to know what you want. You have to know what you want. You cannot ask anybody for anything without knowing what you're asking for. You cannot request, abundance. You can't ask for help. You can't turn to people. It ends up sounding something like this when you don't connect to yourself and you just go straight to asking. It sounds like, I don't know what I want. I'm just blah, 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 complaining and blaming and blah, right? There's this like icky energy. And I asked and nothing happened. Okay. That's where it leads you. It's like frustration that I actually went out of my way. I prayed or I asked or I, communicated my needs, and it didn't nothing happened. It didn't work. Whatever it is that is supposed to work didn't work. Why? The answer is you never got in touch with yourself. You really have to take the moment to ground yourself, to arrive, to be willing to be completely honest with what it is you want. You have this amazing opportunity to get in touch with yourself and hear what you want. Because a lot of the time, this is what happens most of the time, is that there's so much noise out there and so much chatter that you want what other people want for you, or you want what other people have for themselves, right? So it's like, it should be this way and it has to this, and I'm expected to, or all these things that are very, very external. When you can pause and shut all of that noise down and go inside and find what you want. And this, by the way, takes like 2 seconds, okay? I'm saying a very long explanation of how you connect to yourself, but it goes something like this. Right? Like, okay, I know what I want, right? And you get better and better because it's a skill. It's a skill to listen to yourself. It's a skill to get to know what your desires are. A lot of us haven't done that. We don't have that skill. We're going around just being reactive to other people's needs and to other people's expectations. So give yourself permission to get in touch with what you want and listen to it and really know. I really love journaling because you can get all of that down on paper and then look at it and be like, oh, yeah, okay, I know now what I want, right? I know that this is actually important to me and this isn't. Right? It's not important to me to do something that someone else thinks is important. I don't care about having a fancy whatever or, doing this thing. I care more about this and that, right? So I'm going to get really, really clear on what's my wants. And with that, after I connect to myself, I can then go to step 2, which is ask for abundance. I turn up. I have to tell you, there is an analogy that I love. When I was growing up, there was a lot of cartoons, and one of them I cannot get it out of my head. It was so funny. It's just like very simple, right? There's a submarine and it has a little periscope, and it's like doo, 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 doo. And basically it's looking to the sides, like looking right, looking left, looking right, and then it looks at you and it like blinks, dink, dink. I can't get it out of my head. It's like the classic submarine thing with the periscope, right? I'm sure all of you have seen it. This is how we walk around in life. Okay. I need a job. So I take my periscope, I look to the sides, and I'm like, how am I going to get a job? Okay. I'm going to send my resume. I'm going to talk to these people. I'm going to connect to these people. I'm going to beg this person. I'm going to, go and check that out. I'm going to look in the newspaper. I'm going to tell my friends. I'm going to blah, 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 blah. And what am I doing? I'm living life this way, sideways. And really, what am I supposed to be doing if I want a job, if I want anything for that matter? I just have to connect. I need to turn the right direction and I need to let it all flow down because really it's all from God. And if it's all from God, then who am I meant to turn to when I need something, when I want something? You got it, God. So I want you to realize how many times a day you look to the sides for answers, also for blame, like, it's his fault. It shouldn't have been this way, right? We're really good at that. It's a protective mechanism, no judgment. But we get above that and we can connect. Thank God we have a God, right? It's like amazing. It's one of the things that I'm most grateful for is that I have who to turn to. And the coolest part is he actually has the ability to help me. He is the creator of the world. So he's a very creative. I can give him my pros and cons. I could show him what I found to be right for me. I could say, I think that I should go this way. It makes most sense that this is what I should do, right? And I can really say even, I really want this to work, right? I can be honest about what I want, but at the end of the day, I'm asking for guidance. I'm asking, show me, guide me, teach me, get me to the right people, meet me up with the right clients, whatever it is that I need, only God can do. And so it will be a waste of time for me to go asking around people and things and trying all this stuff, right? We're very good at staying busy. But it's actually less about how much you do and who you turn to. So step 1 was connect to yourself. Step 2, ask for abundance. And of course, it's what we're here for. Why are we in this world? To connect to God. So all he wants is a relationship with us. All he wants is for us to connect, to turn to him. And it could be for the little things and it could be for the big things. It could be for things that we think are impossible. But guess what? Nothing is impossible for God. I once went to the park and there was a lady who said, "Oh yeah, I talk to God about everything, even like a button on my shirt, everything, everything." But I'm never going to ask him for a house. God, that's crazy. How does a girl who's sitting around, super poor with 4 kids under the age of 5, going to get a house? And I'm like, "Are you kidding me?" Here you are, like being all like, "I'm so connected," and then you don't believe in God's ability to get you a house. I don't care how. Just ask him. Tell him I really want a house, right? Like we put our own blockages on ourselves. God is not limited. We're the ones who are limited. So, okay, get out of your own way. Let it be easy. Turn to God. Good? Step 3. After you connect with yourself, you know exactly what you want, and you turn to God and you ask for guidance, for abundance, for clarity, whatever it is, right? And you can be as specific as you want. By the way, specific doesn't mean tangible, right? So someone says, "Can I ask for clarity?" Yes, you can ask for anything. Just because clarity isn't something tangible doesn't mean that it's not specific. It is a very specific request. Okay. So we have connect to yourself, ask for abundance, listen for the answer. Listen for the answer is basically stop and listen. Give up the need for control. Stop trying to force things to be the way you want them to be, and be willing to be attentive to the answer you get from God. Now, God only has 3 answers. It's either yes, not now, or I have something better for you. And when you realize that, you understand that a lot of the things in your life that you thought were no's were actually one of those 3. Well, obviously the no's didn't feel like yeses, but it was either not the right time, you were going to get it anyway. It just wasn't this minute, or I have something way better for you. I'm not going to give you something that's substandard for you. I know that there's something better. And I could see this in my life a lot, right? Yes, not now. I got something better for you. Yes, Eva. So good to see you. Okay, this is so fun that it's live. Okay, so listen to the answer. Why do we get to listen? How do we know what God wants? You're walking around the world, you're, stuck in this fuzz, and you're like, what does God want from me? What does he want? Right? And I have this great relationship with God, so I want to do what God wants. And if I just knew what God would want, then I would want that. So if I knew your will, then I would know what I want, and then we could all be on the same page. But sometimes I don't know what you want. So I got this great answer from Rabbi Attar, who lives here in Kochav Yaakov. He says, you know what God wants through reality, because God doesn't make mistakes and God doesn't do anything he doesn't want. So if it's happening, it means it's what he wants. And same with what happened, right? Because it is what he wants. He would not have done it if it wasn't what he wants. So what you have to get really, really clear on is for me to be attentive and to hear what God wants and to see what God wants. I need to be able to be right here in the present moment without grabbing the future, without controlling what's going to happen, without trying to project what I think should happen or could happen. Just let it go. Open yourself up and watch what happens. That's when the magic happens, right? Because you're no longer in control. You got very clear on what you want. You got really clear on who can help you. And you're aligned. So the next thing is going to be shown. It's just going to pop in your face. It's going to be almost impossible for you to miss it because you're so attentive and you're so present. So try it. Go do it. Get really, really clear on what you want. Ask God because he's the only one who can help you. And then listen. I had people who said, I don't want to go to that meeting. I wish that, there was a way to cancel, but there's no way I can cancel. There's no way, whatever. It's too important. I'm going to make a fool of myself, but I really don't want to go. And then the other person cancels, right? You will get answers when you're willing to stop controlling and grabbing and holding everything. Just let it go. Be a little flexible. Be here to be here. Okay. What happens with step 4? Master a higher level of consciousness. Step 4 is the most important step, obviously, after step 1, because step 1, you can't skip it. If you don't start with step 1, the whole thing is just going to mush, right? We've said that already. So in step 4, we're basically looking at this loop, right? I start with myself, I go up to God, and then I look at reality. But now it's coming back to myself. It's a loop where I got clear, I turned to God, I got the answer, and now I have to do something with this because I just had something really amazing happen in my life. I connected on such a deep level that I got that spark of connection. I got that light. I am, blown away. If you do nothing, right? We have this thing, it's called next, right? It's like, okay, great. This happened. It all worked out. What's next? Let's get on with life. Let's move on and, get the next thing. No, stop. Chill, relax. You have to celebrate. You have to thank. You get to tell people about it. You get to write about it. You get to, write a song about it. Do whatever it is that you need to do to harness all of that energy. Use it as fuel to propel you forward. Stop and acknowledge that you just had that clarity, that connection, that connected for real moment. And it's so powerful that if you can stop for just a moment to celebrate and be in that moment, you can use that as fuel to propel you forward. And let me tell you, it will zoom you to the next level, right? And our goal in this world, from Mesilat Yesharim, the path of the just, that his whole book is all about the 10 steps of raising your level of awareness, raising your level of consciousness. And it's what we're trying to do. We're all here to try, right? It's like, we don't want to stay down there. We're constantly moving up. And he says, if you don't repeat and keep going and keep trying and keep working on it, it will not work, right? You have to be in the work all the time. And so if you can be in that loop all the time, connect to yourself, ask God, see what he wants, great, then celebrate it, be all excited, do something tangible to hold it, and then use it to propel you forward, get your level to the next level, and then do it again, connect to yourself, ask God, right? And you can live in an amazing high. And even though there's highs and lows, right? There's some people whose highs and lows are down here. And then there's some people whose highs and lows are up here. So we're all going up and down. We all have our highs and lows, but nobody says your lows have to reach the floor. Nobody says you have to go down all the way to where you were, when you were there. No, we want to go up and down, and life has its movement and its flow, and there's that, the seasons of your life, and you're not always going to be like the most alive, yay, whatever, right? And there are going to be lows, but even your lows are going to start feeling like highs. They're going to be sustainable energy. They're going to actually work with you. It's going to be amazing. And so you're going to start creating this spiral effect where every time you get in touch with yourself, which, by the way, usually it is triggered by feeling unattached or, frustrated, or something isn't in alignment. It pushes you into action. Like, wait, what do I want? That's the first question you should ask always. What do I want? By the way, in conflict resolution, you cannot go into a conversation without knowing what you want and then finding what we can work together and how we can both get what we want. It's like the win-win, right? That's the goal of every conversation. But you always have to know what you want. You can never ignore that. You can never skip over that. And if you bring God into the situation, it's like instead of walking into a dark room and bumping into the table and then bumping into the chair and then having to figure out where the light switch is, right? You just turn on the light and you walk right through the room. You have no problem. People with the light on do not bump into tables and chairs. It just doesn't happen. And it's how life works when your light is on. When God is in the equation, when you're able to connect, even when you have no idea what the answer is, but you know what you want and you know you have who to rely on. You know, we're here together. We've got this. And then you have to be willing to stop and listen, because we're really programmed to ask and ask and ask. We have people running from prayer to prayer to prayer to prayer. I went here and I prayed there and I went here and I cried there and I went right? And it's like asking. We're really good at that because we've been taught. But who taught us to listen? How often do you know people who just stop? Okay, I've prayed, I've done my part. I'm going to just open myself up to listen. And by the way, that's how you get downloads, right? That's how you allow this amazing conversation, the ability to receive. It's like, oh, I just thought of this amazing idea. Like, how do people have that? It's because they're able to open themselves up, to get out of their own way, to stop thinking that they know everything, or to stop figuring out that it has to be this way and I'm going to engineer it to be exactly that. Stop, just relax. Open up. Chill a little. Life is good. You are here to enjoy life because God put you here and He put all these amazing things around you so that you can live life. And it's not meant to be hard. It's meant to be amazing. So, again, connect to yourself, ask for abundance, listen for the answer, and master a higher level of consciousness. And when you do that, I want you to reach out and let me know how it goes, because the amount of feedback I get is just mind-blowing. Thank God I have over 800 women who came to the retreat that I do. I do a virtual retreat that's really amazing. And we go through each step really, really in depth. And it's absolutely mind-blowing what you can do when you get into it. And my business is called Connected for Real, because you can be connected, but you gotta be for real. You have to be practical. You're living in this world, so you can't be a pie in the sky, fluffy, all up there, spiritual. You gotta get down here and be like, what do I do now? And the calm method is going to help you do that. If you want more examples of the calm method, I have many, but I'm running out of time. And I love you all. I know that you have a huge, long list of amazing speakers that are coming up. So thank you for listening. I'm Bat-Chen Grossman, Connected for Real. I'm also on Instagram, on YouTube, on Facebook at Connected for Real. And I am really grateful to have been here. Thank you so much.